practice, and plan to get him in there, and um, excited to see him out there.
Kyle, what did you see from Nick this week? And is he able to progress, make noticeable strides on the practice field, just given that it's his second week in a row?
Yes, but every week's kind of a new week also. I mean, you get a game plan on Wednesday that kind of overwhelm them on a little bit on Wednesday, and that's why we take a little bit longer to get out to the practice field. Um, but it's really kind of how you go Wednesday through Friday, and he's ready to go. He's real crisp all week, and you just detail up a few things today. But each week's kind of a different deal with the game plan, and quarterbacks work through that throughout their 3 days.
Hey, Kyle, I had a question about Ross Dwelly. Last year, I know you'd mentioned, I'm going to quote here. You said after one game, he's as good of a football player as we've got going right now. And then Fred Warner said this week he's become one of the best football players on our team. I don't think most people would associate Ross Dwelly, as being that guy. I do think I know kind of what y'all are getting at when you say that. Could you just kind of explain his value and why he's held in such high esteem?
I think when people say someone's a great football player, they mean that nothing's too big for him. I mean, whatever you ask him to do, he can handle that assignment. It doesn't matter whether it's fourth down with no time on the clock, if it's the first play of the game. I mean, the guy he's not going to flinch. He's gonna play football every down like it's the last down, and the game's not too big for him. So I think that's definitely what I mean, and I'm pretty sure Fred means that the same way.
You said that Jordan Reed and D Ford are out for this game. Will they be going on IR tomorrow? And if so, Debo would take one of those spots, right? And would Joe Walker take the other spot?
I mean, I do think they are going to go on it by tomorrow. I know Demo's doing the one. I'm not exactly sure what we're doing with the other yet. There's a few fluid things right now, but I think we have till 1 tomorrow to decide.
Kyle, in regards to D Ford, the way this has trended over the last few weeks, I got to ask: is this a season-ending or career-threatening injury? That is retirement even being discussed?
It's not being discussed, but I mean, and I don't want to say anything strong that people blow up, but it's similar to what I said a couple weeks ago. When you're dealing with the back and things like that, I mean, everything's a concern, and also that stuff does loosen up just randomly too. So that's why we're playing it slow. I just saw him here a little bit. I mean, in the hallway on my way here. I think he's doing better than he was a couple weeks ago. That's for sure. But something we just got to be smart with, and you can't risk things when you're dealing with that part of the body. So I want to get to saying all that stuff, but that's why we're being cautious with it.
Hey, Kyle, is Debo going to be on a pitch count? And how does that work for the rest of the receivers, just as far as being phased out of the offense with Debo being active?
I mean, I don't think they get phased out of the offense, but I mean, we definitely have to be smart with them. I want to say that there's a pitch count, but it's Debo's our starting receiver last year. So we earned that early in the year, and we kept it that way most of the year. So definitely to finish. So I don't expect him to be like that on Sunday. It is his first time back. We got to be smart with that. I mean, you see a lot of these injuries around the league and stuff, and that's kind of what happens when you don't go through the totally normal process of an off season that we did. And when you have a guy who's missed a ton with his injury, that makes it even stronger. So we got to be smart with him. I know he'll be out there, but it won't be his normal role. That's for sure.
With Jason Verrett, what is it about him that has allowed you guys to have so much faith, just given all of the injury issues that he's gone through?
I mean, we didn't know Jason. It just starts with his talent and what you see on tape. And I mean, that's why he was a first round pick. And that's why when he was healthy with the Chargers, he was a Pro Bowler and one of the better corners in the league. Then we had an opportunity to get him here. And then when you get to meet a guy, we brought him in on a free agent visit. You believe in the person and you see how hard he works, how hard he was grinding to get back, how he did look healthy, then got re-injured and stuff. And the adversity that he goes through, but then he comes back and responds. So we took a shot on it last year. It didn't go great, but we actually got to know the guy, and we were really hoping that he'd give us another shot again. So there's no risk in that with us when you got a guy of his ability, a guy who works hard, kind of chalk it up to the rest is up to God. I mean, he puts in all the work he can, and it's either meant to be or not. And he's a hell of a player, so I'm glad it's working out for him right now.
I think Jamar Taylor played, if it wasn't exclusively, it was mostly nickel snaps for you in the summer. If he got called up, would he be able to do both? I mean, is he well versed enough in this defense to play on the outside if need be?
He is. Jamar's a smart player, and he's done that. I mean, in Seattle, he played both spots, and we brought him here to get reps at all the stuff. But missing K1 through most of camp, Jamar had to really help us out with the nickel spot. So he knows that the best. That's what he's ready to do right away. With K1 being limited and everything, or being questionable. But no, regardless of the injuries, you only get so many guys up. So they got to be willing to. I mean, they got to have the ability to play both. And I know Jamar does.
Hi, Kyle. Steve Young's famous sideline rant against the Eagles, or when they were playing the Eagles, was 26 years ago today. I know you were a ball boy on that team, so you might have been on the sideline. I'm wondering if you remember anything from that.
I definitely remember it. I always used to sit with my mom, and she allowed me to invite 2 friends to the game, so she let us sit by ourselves, which was a huge deal for me as a freshman in high school. But then I got to the game, and she put me in the nosebleeds. So there wasn't very good seats, but me and my 2 buddies sat up there and just heard Niners fans rip how bad the offense coordinator was for that game, who happened to be my dad. So I had a very sensitive game, but they were probably pretty right that game. It was a tough one for everybody, but it was pretty cool. I mean, I still remember how fired up Steve was, and I think it was because they took him out late in the game. I think that was why. And then I think they went on to win like 14 in a row after that. So sometimes people can say bad things happen, but depends how you react to them. And if it ends up being a positive, it's never a bad thing. And I think that was a crucial game and the greatness that they had that year.
So with 2 games under his belt, what are you hoping to see from Brandon Ayuk this week in terms of production and just in growth in the next coming weeks?
I mean, I never think about it in production. I mean, you really never know that until how the game plays out. But I expect him to get better. I mean, he still has a long way to go. Got in there in week 2, improved in week 3, and I expect him to improve in week 4. We got a lot of guys on our team who I think have a high ceiling that they haven't reached yet that can get better throughout the game. And Brandon is definitely one of those guys. And he had a good week of practice, and I hope it leads to better results Sunday or improving results.
Obviously, you'll still be without some key guys, but just getting guys like Kittle and Debo back, finally starting to get some good news on the injury front. What can that do for your team? What have you seen it do maybe even just this week in terms of energy and things like that?
I mean, it's great getting Kittle back. We were close last week, and then you don't. And, I think that was what was tough a little bit about the Jordan Reed loss because of how well he was playing and everything, and when we lost him during the game. But being able to pull that off and still win and then get Kittle back this week, I think it excites guys a lot. Having Debo back out there, too. I mean, just not having him throughout training camp and stuff. You could feel it on Wednesday. I mean, Debo's got a personality that everyone gravitates to. He works hard. But he's a funny guy that guys like to hang around, and it was cool to have him out there this week. You could definitely feel a different vibe.
Last one, folks. Kyle, how close was Jimmy to practicing this week? And just given that it's early in the season, are you more prone to maybe being conservative with guys, just knowing there's a long road ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I think you should be, but you don't think of it in terms of it's a long season. There's 13 more games to go. I mean, the NFL, I mean, we started 8-0 or whatever it was, and I think only lost 3 games. And winning your division still comes down to the last play of the game. I mean, last play of the year. So I've been in this too long to take any game for granted. So it's not like you ever think in terms of. I mean, guys will talk that way and stuff, but anyone who's been in this league, you remind them that this game's just as important as Week 16. So it has more to do with can they protect themselves? Are they risking a long-term injury doing it? If they are, definitely not. When it is the last game of the year, it's a little bit different. But, I mean, there's a lot of games, but it's too competitive to look that way. So we got to be smart with the guys. If Jimmy could have played this week, he'd be out there.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Jason, just
Turned it up.
curious how, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just curious how last week went for you, how you feel physically, and what it means to you and to for the 49ers to show so much faith in you, given everything you've gone through so far.
And first off, last week was just a blessing, man. It's been a while since I've been out there. Um, Had a lot of fun, man. Uh, I worked my tail off to get back out there. Um, but as far as just the 49ers organization, top to bottom, man, just having faith in me. Training staff, coaching staff doing a hell of a job of, making sure my body is right. And I'm just happy to be out there and look forward for, the rest of the season.
You said earlier this summer that the press coverage was the last thing to come around, and that you were kind of eager to work on that throughout training camp. Where are you now in terms of press coverage? I mean, do you feel like you're back to 2015, Jason Barrett?
Man, it's an ongoing thing. I just feel, week in and week out, you're playing against different receivers, so you're gonna get different, releases and things like that. But I just feel, as you go on along the season, your game just continues to elevate, and that's where I'm at now. I'm just trying to elevate each and every week.
Hey, Jason, is there any comparison between the way you feel now and the way you felt last year? Obviously, you played in that just one game and didn't look like yourself. Um, I mean, is it kind of night and day?
Yeah, absolutely. It's night and day different. Like I said, I give credit to the strength coaches and training staff. IRing me last year, allowing me to get my body fully underneath me, just due to the fact of all the injuries that I went through those previous years. So having the rest of the season last year, and then with COVID and everything this past spring, it kind of helped me a lot to rest my body and at the same time get stronger and get faster. So fast forward to where I'm at now, man, I'm loving where I'm at body wise, and I just hope I can stay that way the rest of the year.
Jason, was last year a little different for you, just in terms of compared to like the other injuries, where it wasn't something just completely devastating? You just knew you needed that time. Does that make sense? Like comparing it to the previous times where you knew it was like a specific rehab.
Yeah, I mean,
How
just
different was that?
just with the massive injuries that I've been through with the ACL and then the Achilles, man, it's always, some people say it makes take 2 years for the body to fully heal, and that's pretty much just what it was for me. I went through a lot back to back years with ACL, then an Achilles, so I didn't really get the full recovery. So with this past year having that and going into this season, man, it was a blessing and good boost for me. So I like where I'm at now.
Do you feel as if you're better suited to field or to boundary cornerback? Do you prefer playing one versus the other?
Well, in my career, I played. I've always traveled, so I've always played right and left field and boundary. Here, I'm just doing whatever the coaches ask of me. We got a lot of guys that are banged up and going through injuries, so next man up mentality, along with being able to play right and left. We did that all throughout training camp, swapping from field and boundary. So it's been a balance to get that all throughout training camp, and then now heading to the season. So I feel everybody who's going to be out there on the field at corner. They've all got a feel for field and boundary. So
Jason, you're not the only guy on this roster who's gone through quite a few injuries, has been out for an extended period of time. What do you guys share? Do you guys talk amongst each other, have this a certain bond?
injuries is part of the game, and it sucks to see people go through those type of things. But yeah, like I said, it's just the next man up mentality, and as veterans that we are in this league and guys that's been around for a long time, they know injuries come with this game. So you always got to be ready. But I hate to see it. Try to stay as encouraging as possible for those who are out. But you just gotta step up when another man's down.
Jarek McKinnon said yesterday that just given what you guys have gone through, that you guys really clicked. I guess last year when you first arrived. How helpful has it been to have Jarek? And
I could
is
barely
it
hear him.
does it?
What do you
Can
say?
you hear me?
Oh, okay, yeah, Jet. Yeah, Jet, man. It's a crazy story for him and myself. I love to see how I was happy to see how he was training over the off season, and just seeing how he switched gears from where he was the years before, and it's a blessing just to have somebody around you like that who's kind of been through what you've been through, just because you're happy to see that next person succeed. So, how he's been so far this season, man, has been tremendous, man. It's motivating for myself as well. To just to ball out, man. That's just part of the story, man. You be able to rewrite history.
Last one. Jason, pretty much all of your teammates and coaches we've talked to, one of the first things they brought up last week was how happy they were for you. Did you feel that on Sunday? Did you have teammates coming up to you and congratulating you, or just sharing that emotion with you?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was fun just to hear, your peers, happy for you, the teammates, just because, they seen what it was like for me, at my worst days. They seen me on the sideline while, they were on the road to Super Bowl, man, and it was definitely bittersweet for me watching that, and also, happy for them, but bittersweet just because of the competitor that I am. And I always wanted to be out on the field and flying around with those guys. So this Sunday, man, it was everything for me. Just being able to be back out there, and I'm just looking forward to doing that, week in and week out with those guys.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, appreciate it.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Nick. Kyle just told us that you're gonna have both Debo and George Kittle back this week. Just what does that do for maybe your confidence and just overall the team's energy and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, they're two great playmakers on this football team, and even getting on the practice field this week, you're quickly reminded about their speed. They're so fast in every practice rep. in every game rep, and we're gonna love to have their speed, physicality, and mindset back on the field this week. Pump for those guys that they're finally healthy.
Hey, Nick, did going through this last week, just kind of the ramp up to a game, did it give you any things to kind of tinker with this week as far as how you budget your time during the week, what you spend certain days on, or was that routine pretty much already in place for you?
Yeah, I mean, my routine has stayed the same really since my kind of first couple years in the league, as far as when I do third downs, base downs, what I study on certain nights. So my routine's pretty consistent, but the time management part of it, about how much time you need to really get your confidence going, to create that confidence in your preparation and things like that. So yeah, it was a really comfortable week, and always just trying to over prepare as much as I can.
Nick, as a backup, I'm sure practice reps, particularly during the season, are hard to come by. But how helpful is it? How much more in a rhythm are you right now? Now that you've had really 2 full weeks of practice.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Getting all the reps, it just creates confidence. You know what to expect. You know what you're going against. You feel different things out. You really just, you feel what it's going to feel like in the game. And you're seeing defenses, you're seeing the looks. And so all of those reps and preparation lead up to Sunday. And that's things you don't get as a backup. So it definitely helps, and it creates confidence as you go into Sunday.
Hey, Nick, at various times over the past year, Kyle and Fred Warner this week termed Ross Dwelly, one of your guys, better football players, which I'm sure would surprise fans who may not see him as such. I think I understand what they're getting at when they say that. What does that mean to you? Um, and I don't know. Do you share that sentiment?
Yeah, I totally agree. When you talk about a football player, it's all encompassing. You know, everything that you do, the way that you're a teammate, the way that you handle your business, just the way that you play the game. You take advantage of every opportunity you get when that time comes, and you do it to the best of your ability, and then you maximize your ability, and that's what Ross does a great job of. Every time that you think he's not going to do something crazy special, he does it, and that's something special about him, and that's what makes him one of the best, just overall football players on our team.
Nick, now that you have those extra playmakers out there, how does that change how you approach the preparation or the game this week?
I think it. I mean, it adds some excitement. You know, you can get the ball into those guys' hands. Haven't played with George in a while, and so he's always messing with me about like, I can't wait to play with you again. You know, and so I love that. You know, and George and Debo, those guys bring energy. They bring great energy. They're leaders of this football team, and that helps the entire offense. It helps the team, and they've done great in practice. Like I said, very fast, very physical, great mindsets. And so we're pumped to have those guys out there, and it's been a great week.
Nick, I haven't annoyed you with questions about listening to crowd noise on Apple Music in a couple years, but it seems like you might have actually been ahead of the curve a little bit because now that's what all the stadiums are doing. What was your impression of that? Just your first couple times out there, and maybe the way that you go about things in the huddle and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, um, that's funny. That's good. That's good, Nick. But yeah, I mean, I feel like as football players, you want to play with fans. You know, that's the natural thing. You want to perform in front of fans. Last year, Levi Stadium, it was rocking. It was a place where the fans and the players could connect and things like that. And just based off of the plays that we made, it was a really fun atmosphere. And the fact that we don't have that, it was tough. It was tough to get used to. But once you're out there playing the game, you hear the automated crowd noise or whatever it is. Um, you just go play the game. You know, at that point, you're focused on your job. You're focused on what you have to do to execute. And the first game was a little different, just getting a feel for it. But the further it went, the more real it felt, and you could feel it from the start. And so the games it's right back to just football now, playing, executing, and competing for wins.
Do two more for Nick.
Nick beat me to the reference to the Apple Music thing. But speaking of that, how much more comfortable do you feel in your preparation when it comes to your knowledge of the offense and making those play calls? Just given now that you're in your fourth season in the system.
Super confident. You know, that's what you prepare for. You prepare all week. You know your calls. You know all the adjustments you have to make. And that's one thing I'm a believer in. You know, you're always playing the game in your head before it starts. And so you got your practice, and then you got your walkthroughs, and then your practice, and then just playing the game in your mind, hearing the calls, walking through the plays again. You know, and that's, I guess you could say I'm a believer in visualization, and so that's one thing that I always try to do, and it helps me stay smooth on my progressions.
And Nick, what have you seen from the Eagles' defensive line? And I also want to know, what were a couple areas that the coaches told you could improve off of last week's performance?
Yeah, I mean the Eagles' defense, they're very aggressive. You can tell from the start. They got a really good D line that I think we're all aware of. You know, Graham and Cox up front. They're two very experienced, talented, aggressive football players. And Slay the corner, and their other secondary guys. Just aggressive defense. And I like that. I mean, I feel like if I was a D coordinator, I would teach a pretty aggressive style as well. You know, so I think they do some good stuff on defense, and we're excited to go against them on Sunday night. And what was your second question? Sorry. Oh, improvement. Yeah, improvement from the game. I think just our different ball handling. There's like some just ball fakes and small details, and like carrying out your fakes, some small details, and then it's something that I think I did a pretty good job of, but you can always get better at is just natural pocket movement. You know, you're dropping back, keeping your eyes downfield. You can't. I mean, you obviously can't look at the D lineman, so just feeling natural pass rush, the soft spot in the pocket. That's one thing that I'm always focused on, and with their D line, I think it'll be critical this week.
All right. Thank you guys. See you Sunday.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.